This video is brought to you by Masterworks. Stick around to hear more about the special offer they're providing to the entire upper echelon community. Okay, today is all about Twitter, now referred to as X for some reason, because the platform has become an epicenter of propaganda networks and advertising fraud of the highest order, so much so that some groups even openly brag about taking money out of Elon's pocket. Hundreds of millions of dollars, nation-state level threat actors, and everything from common grifters to multinational conglomerates are using the platform to manipulate, deceive, and profit in some of the most blatantly obvious ways I've ever seen, above and beyond any other social media platform on the internet. Strong words, I know, but let's get into why I've chosen them. First things first, this is a topic primarily made possible by the work of a user named MasteroftheTDS, who initially started digging into accounts posting about Disney stock, then tackling an issue of whether or not Ubisoft was the target of manipulated traffic during their promotion of a game called Star Wars Outlaws. That's a different topic entirely, but this continued effort to find evidence of these patterns elsewhere on the platform led to a discovery that advertising fraud on Twitter has been fully industrialized. And after working with him to learn more, it also turns out that one of the prior networks we here at Upper Echelon analyzed has been repurposed now to a pro-Israel campaign, which is an interesting tie-in for later in the video. I'll obviously be linking to his channels down below, YouTube and Twitter. I encourage anyone who enjoys the subject matter here to consider checking those out. High-level summary first before we get to the details. This is a sophisticated network of false traffic, primarily posted by AI programs such as ChatGPT, which is designed to gain as many monetizable impressions as possible and, quote, get money out of Musk's pocket. The network is called VNXNet and has been observed directly interacting with content related to Disney, Ubisoft, Tesla, Games Workshop, Warner Brothers, Remedy Entertainment, and Sony, among many others. A good way to describe what's happening here would be the words of the network owner, Minduk, who posted, quote, "Hi everyone, we're building a money-making X application with over 1,000 active users. You can search for it with the keyword VNXNet. Currently, each account using our tool earns $300 for each X payment. We focus on building RPM and expanding the interaction scope. You will interact with others, and someone you don't know only needs to use the VNXNet tool to interact with you. To find out more, search for VNXNet." End quote. Also, side note, if there's 1,000 active users at $300 per payment, that's $300,000 per month of ad fraud just from this one little network. That's a pretty tame way to describe it, and the comment section here is filled with fake engagement from verified blue checkmark accounts as well, but if you then go to their Telegram group, or at least preview it, you can find things like this, quote, "Whoever can turn on monetization can get money out of Musk's pocket, otherwise they can only increase interactions, no revenue." And further down, "You can reach 5 million views by interacting with famous people, or you can use the buff service. Will be completed immediately, guaranteed. If monetization is not enabled, you will receive a 100% refund, lifetime view warranty." End quote. Yeah, that's beginning to sound a little bit like an impressions farm, but just in case people had any doubt whatsoever, here's one of their promotional videos. This video was originally posted by an account that no longer exists. It appears that they deleted it themselves, but the rest of the network is still currently online. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Yes, it is. But the question then becomes how, and most importantly, why? The how is pretty easy. It looks like they use a modified dev version of Chrome and also have obscure tutorials on a YouTube channel for how to automate the process of CAPTCHA solving. Just to explain slightly better here, this is a network designed to commit ad fraud, which is demonstrably capable of defeating Twitter's CAPTCHA system for pennies. On top of this, there's footage posted by the owner of this network, such as this. For anyone who isn't actively watching the video right now, just listening to it, the footage he has, which is being displayed in the background, showcases 8 separate Twitter accounts in their own browser windows, scrolling the website, clicking on each other's content, generating hundreds of dollars per payout each automatically. Combine that with their ability to circumvent the CAPTCHA system and the fact that all of the accounts are blue check verified, and you have a scalable ad fraud system to extract as much money as you theoretically want from Twitter advertising clients. The thing that gets me with all this is that Elon Musk attempted to back out of the initial Twitter acquisition deal by claiming that the platform had higher levels of botted traffic than previously disclosed. But under his leadership, the level of inauthentic and monetized bot traffic is orders of magnitude greater than anything it was before him, and that explains the why. Venture capital bros and Silicon Valley tech moguls are consistently justifying AI by telling us it will improve our quality of life and bring economic prosperity. However, certain economists think it will have basically no effect on a coming recession, and data so far suggests AI largely hasn't lowered costs or improved general fortunes in the stock market, aside from isolated bubbles. With that in mind, the possibility of future uncertainty that is, I want to discuss today's video sponsor, Masterworks, which involves an alternative asset that's historically performed extremely well in periods of economic unpredictability. I've actually personally done an entire dedicated investigation video about this company with an hour-long plus interview with their C-suite, clarifying a bunch of individual questions that my audience previously had. And full disclosure, I currently hold an investment with them myself. It's not huge, it's $2,500, but that's significant for me, and I'm big on transparency. Since partnering with them in total, Masterworks has distributed back over $55 million in proceeds to their investors across 22 exits through a system of buying blue-chip contemporary art and securitizing it. Blue chip artwork is an asset class that has a near zero historical correlation to the stock market for the last 28 years, which is where the topic of uncertainty ties in. Basically, Masterworks acquires a blue chip piece of artwork from the likes of Picasso or Banksy. They create an offering from that piece and break that offering into shares. After that, investors can add those shares to their portfolio, and for anyone interested in the technical details, I put a link down below to the SEC page with all of their offering circulars located on the Edgar database at sec.gov. Masterworks is nearing over $1 billion of invested capital, but offerings do have the potential to sell out kind of quickly, so if you're interested in learning more and want priority access through a partner deal with the channel in the process, you can use the QR code on screen now or my link in the description. It's important to note that past sales and demand are not indicative of future results, and all investing involves risk. See important Regulation A disclosures at masterworks.com/CD, but again, link down below. Big thank you to Masterworks for supporting the channel. Once again, crediting Master of the TDS for compiling these images, which are taken from one particular section of this one individual network, we can see that the level of manufactured traffic isn't just large, it's gargantuan. Millions of monetized views, and to be clear, views are not actual views, they're impressions, but that's irrelevant because impressions are monetized, collectively harvesting untold tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars as they run automatically with no human input, circumventing the anti-spam protocols. That obviously has wide-ranging implications for anyone using Twitter as an advertising platform, but let me just round out the scope here with a connection back to the project that was previously discussed about political bot networks. About a year ago, I published a video about what was then a Blue Wave 2024 propaganda network. It's a good video, I'll link that down below as well, but the simple rundown is that a massive network of coordinated traffic was being used to make it seem like there was a lot more grassroots-type interest in democratic political talking points on Twitter than there actually was. Long story short, 1 year later, that network has been repurposed into a pro-Israel botnet, which now focuses on central figures like Elon Musk or Ollie London with hashtags like Jews for Trump, whereas before it was heavily promoting political figures like John Cooper, Kamala Harris, President Biden, and even their significant others or spouses. It's completely bizarre to watch that kind of shift taking place in real time, perfectly demonstrating how easy it is to just direct the network somewhere and increase social media traction for any given subject. It's mind-blowing how much of the content we are now interacting with on a daily basis is fabricated. If you start searching for certain phrases and primarily mistakes, you'll find enormous amounts of content where the automation system is broken and the account starts tweeting about how it can't continue because it doesn't have enough ChatGPT credits, or even explicit acknowledgement that the thing typing these words is an AI which strives to be helpful, but because the pipeline from ChatGPT into Twitter is a little bit glitchy at times, mistakes get packaged up and spit out as tweets, thereby blowing the account's cover. It's easy to find these, a lot of them, and it's easy to laugh at those mistakes, obviously, but the number of accounts that you are seeing right now, checkmark verified accounts as well, which is probably why Musk is trying to monetize them in that particular way too, that are not human and are simply conversing with the platform through AI tools, is higher than we can possibly know. This is the part where it gets a little bit more technical, but bear with me. Twitter allows multiple forms of verification on the platform. You can have a blue check mark, but you can also get ID verified. The bot accounts typically don't do this. They rely on the more simplified blue checkmark verification system, which then boosts their fake traffic higher in the algorithm, specifically for the reply section, which is one of their primary mechanisms of garnering impressions. That's how they all do it, just a bunch of replies, thereby generating additional ad return. But if they did want to verify themselves with government-issued ID, it wouldn't even be difficult. To be clear, the more rudimentary premium blue checkmark alone already amplifies the bot replies to the top of their respective comment section, ensuring that they get seen or scrolled past by more real people, and especially other blue check verified bots, which is traffic they subsequently get paid for, thereby acting as a sort of jumpstart to the engagement farm. I won't go too far down the rabbit hole, and I'm not going to show you what you have to do on screen because I'm not interested in committing cybercrimes on YouTube. But if you did want to verify a fake Twitter account with ID, you could just find it for free online. Example, roughly 80% of the population of El Salvador had high-resolution facial photos and government-issued ID numbers leaked on the dark web. And yeah, most people don't know where to look or how to find these things, but if you wanted to spin up an ad fraud network with a few hundred different ID-verified Twitter accounts, which auto-solve the platform CAPTCHAs and harvest money on autopilot every month, hundreds of dollars each, by the way, you absolutely can. Twitter uses a completely automated ID verification system called Authentics, utilizing machine learning to verify IDs in less than 5 minutes, allegedly, which sounds great from a convenience perspective, but represents a nightmare when it comes to actual customer experience because it is becoming increasingly possible every single day to find a never-ending supply of real passports and ID photos online. The whole situation has now become so brazen, it's leaking over into the ClearNet, the internet that most people directly engage with, where tutorials and networks like this one are openly advertising their services while becoming more and more active as it grows past the threshold of what I would normally describe as a cottage industry and becomes more akin to an actual commercial business operating at the expense of high-level advertisers. To be clear, I'm not going to sit here crying over the fact that Ubisoft very likely paid a bunch of money for fake advertising. I don't care about that, but when the current methodology of Twitter seems to be monetizing these networks as highly as possible, it contributes to a complete degradation of the service for actual people. Think about this. Think about every single change that was made in semi-chronological order. Elon says there's too many bots on the platform and doesn't even want to buy it anymore. Didn't work. After he has the platform, he says, okay, now we're going to disable the public API and make you all pay for it. Little known fact about that change is that it makes things incredibly difficult to analyze while harvesting money from anyone participating in the fake traffic industry. Then he opens up a revenue share option, which everyone praises him over and kind of gatekeeps who gets access to begin with, based purely on the number of impressions that people are getting, which makes it so that it becomes lucrative for bot networks to pay for Twitter's API access and farm revenue by generating fake engagement and traffic. After that, he can obviously brag about the platform's inflated numbers, which he does, boasting about metrics like average user time spent or new signups, which can be manipulated into fresh advertising contracts. But the escalation of average user time spent or fresh accounts signing up for the platform, or even number of Twitter Blue paying customers, circles back to this right here, which is fraud networks out of developing countries with favorable currency exchange rates, like Vietnam, where dozens of accounts are running 24/7 on a single machine, pumping AI garbage into the reply section and shaving off a chunk of the advertising contracts for themselves in a symbiotic relationship with what is now the worst social media platform on the entire internet, bar none. Oh, and he's not going to ban engagement farming. That's not happening, because the entire platform is now built on the foundation of engagement farmers, who he personally amplifies every single day. It's like a construction company saying they're going to ban the process of laying concrete. Yeah, okay, buddy, you're definitely going to do that one and somehow keep building houses. Yeah, for sure. Also, kind of a side note, pay attention to the rhetoric here. These are very often referred to as real accounts when criticism gets more vocal by the people that are using techniques like this to boost themselves and harvest as much money as they can. They say, it's real accounts though, which is technically true. These are real Twitter accounts, but they're not accounts tied to an individual person, and they're certainly not potential customers. Twitter may be able to pretend that the metrics are rising, but the house of cards is getting way too tall, and I don't see any possible way that this ends other than a direct realization by advertising firms that the money they spend is increasingly wasted every day because the platform does not actually serve itself by weeding out the fake profiles. It benefits from their existence. At the end of the day, Twitter, because I refuse to call it X like a middle school child, has effectively become, in my opinion, the internet's bottomless pit of advertising fraud, with a problem that continues to grow as the tools facilitating it all get more advanced every single day. It is the enshittification of the internet personified. Anyway, that's it. If you want to support the channel, there are links down below, primarily locals and Patreon, monthly memberships if you want to support that way. Also a special VPN deal for anyone who needs one, absolutely worth checking out. The video sponsor, of course, Masterworks, good one there, and more, but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, question everything, and have a nice night.